I think this is the most important tip. Like, if you take anything from this video today, I think it should be this tip. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today, as you can tell by the title of this video, I'm going to be sharing 10 tips to get into OT school. So officially, I applied to 4 programs and got a nice little rejection from one. There are 10 tips that I feel helped me when I was applying, so I'm going to share them with you guys. So tip number 1 is to get a bachelor's degree. All OT schools are either master's or doctorate programs, so you need a bachelor's before you apply to one. And this can be in any area that you want. You can major in art and go to OT school. As long as you fulfill the prerequisites, you can apply to an OT school. I personally did my undergrad in psychology. It wasn't even for like a particular reason. I was actually looking at programs and their prerequisites in high school, and I saw that like 3 of the classes were psychology courses. So I was like, 3 psych courses, major in psychology, why not? But if you choose your major specifically based on the prerequisites, then just make sure that you're majoring in something you're actually gonna like. So just keep that in mind, because before going into OT school, you're gonna be in that major for 4 years, and your overall GPA isn't gonna be that great if you're in a major that you're miserable in. I also suggest that you choose a major that has somewhat to do with OT, because I feel like that could help you out in school. For example, I feel like my psych major really helped me when I took the mental health courses in my program. And I can do a separate video on the best majors for OT school, where I can like ask my classmates and see like if their major prepared them for OT school. So if you guys are interested in that, then let me know by liking this video and leaving a comment. Okay, so tip number 2, we kind of talked about already, but it's to complete your prerequisites. So in general, most programs ask for similar prerequisites, but then there are programs that ask for extra prerequisites. I did not apply to those programs, but it's just something to keep in mind. So I suggest that when you're applying, to write down the schools that you're applying to and their prerequisites, just so that you can keep track of what you've taken, what you need to take. Aside from taking these prerequisite courses, you want to make sure that you do well. Try to get A's. If you're not getting A's in your major, at least try to get them in these prerequisite courses, because this is what shows programs that you can actually do the work and that you're ready for the course load. Now, I didn't get all A's in my prerequisite courses, but I did make sure that I had more than the minimum. Most programs have a minimum of a B-. So my freshman year, I took Psych 101 and I got a B-, and I didn't want to just have the bare minimum. So I ended up retaking the course. Because you gotta remember that OT school is really competitive, and you're competing with people who have all A's, who have the 4.0 GPA. But if you're not that person, like me, and you're more of an A's and B's kind of person, then I suggest that you pay extra importance to tip number 4. Just kidding, tip number 3. And that's to get a lot of shadowing and volunteer hours and make the most of them. OT schools want to see that you actually want to do OT. And the way that you show that is by doing shadowing hours. So you want to try to get as many settings as possible. I suggest at least 3. Because like I mentioned in my What is OT video, occupational therapy is very diverse. So if you only shadow one area, then you're not getting a full picture of what OT is, and you want to spend a good amount of time in these settings. So as a minimum, this is minimum, like bare minimum, at least 15 to 20 hours in each setting that you do, because again, you're competing with people who've had like 500 hours of shadowing experience, and that was me. And I did it because I felt like I was trying to compensate for my grades. I was a pretty average student, but because my grades didn't stand out, I wanted another aspect of me to stand out. So I did my hours in 3 different settings. I did most of my hours in a pediatric setting. Then I also shadowed in an inpatient rehab. Then I did outpatient and hospital. And in each of these settings, I noticed how different OT can look, which is why it's important that you explore all of these settings, because this process is not only for you to get into OT school, but it's also for yourself. Like, you want to make sure that you're choosing OT because you actually want to do OT. OT school is expensive. It is time consuming. It takes like 2 to 3 years to finish, and it's a lot of work. Like, when you're in OT school, you eat, breathe, live OT. So you should make sure that it's actually what you want to do before taking out that $100,000 loan that you'll probably be paying for the rest of your life. So ask questions. The OTs that you're shadowing want you to ask questions. Actually show them that you want to be there and that you want to learn more about OT, because these OTs that you're shadowing, they can end up being your recommendation letter. Which brings me to tip number 4. Your letters of recommendation are key. You don't want to ask just anyone for your recommendation. You want to ask somebody that knows you, that will advocate for you, and that will present you to OT schools in the best light possible. I asked 5 different people for my recommendations. I got them from 2 occupational therapists, 2 advisors, and 1 supervisor that I did my internship with. And all of these people I asked because I was sure that they could advocate for me. These were people that I built a relationship with. These were people that knew how passionate I was about OT, and they can put that in writing. So most programs require 2 to 3 letters of recommendation. I asked for 5 because I wanted to like pick and choose which ones to send to each program, but you need to have 2 to 3, and one of them at least has to be from an OT. Okay, so tip number 5 is to write a killer personal statement. I think this is the most important tip. Like, if you take anything from this video today, I think it should be this tip. Your personal statement is your place to shine. This is your space not only to show them your writing abilities, but also to show them how passionate about OT you really are. You can format your personal statement in a lot of ways, but I think the most important thing is to tell a story and tell your story. Tell them why you want to do OT, why you're passionate about OT, what has led you to OT, what you're doing to reach the goal of being an OT, and how can that program that you're applying to help you achieve that goal. If you guys want a separate video looking at my personal statement and just the details of it, how I formatted it, all that schmazz, then let me know. I just don't want to include it in this video because I feel like this video is already long enough. Okay, tip number 6 is to study for and take the GREs if you need to. And that's a big if. I know there's a lot of OT programs that are kind of like leaning away from the GREs, which I think is great because I don't think that the GREs are a good measure of whether you'll do good in OT school or not.
I don't think that memorizing all of these vocabulary words and knowing geometry and algebra help you in OT school in any way.
Triggered. I took the GRE twice, okay? And I got the same exact score. So I just accepted it. I accepted that I'm not a good test taker, so I only applied to programs that don't require the GRE. Actually, that's a lie. I applied to 1 program, the 4th program, that I didn't get into. That one required the GRE. I do suggest though that even if you're not a good test taker, to at least take it once just to see, because you never know, you might surprise yourself, and then having that GRE score could just open the window to you applying to more programs. See, I thought I was a good test taker. Like back in high school, I didn't study for the SATs, and my score wasn't like wow, but I got a pretty decent score. Like I was very happy with my score. So fast forward a couple years later, taking the GREs, I was like, oh, you know, like I'm okay with standardized tests. Like I didn't study for the SATs and I did fine. Like I'm gonna be fine. It was not fine. It was not fine twice. So if you know you're not a good test taker, there are programs that don't require the GREs, and I'll actually link a list of them down below for you guys. So tip number 7 is to get an internship. And make sure the internship is at least, if you can't get an internship directly working with OT, then at least get it in an area that's related to OT. And this goes back to me trying to overcompensate for my grades. Like I said, I was a pretty average student, and then my GRE scores did not help. So I was trying to stand out in every other area that I could. So my senior year, I was blessed enough to have an internship with Special Olympics New Jersey, and I loved it. I wasn't directly working with OTs, but I was working with a population that OTs work with. So as long as you're in a related area, you can use that to your advantage. I loved my time at Special Olympics. My supervisor was awesome. It's an awesome organization. Even if it's just to do volunteer work with them, each state has their own Special Olympics. I'll post them down below too. Number 8, this one's just, I feel like, pretty obvious, and it's just to apply to as many programs as possible. Apply to all the programs. Apply to all the OT schools. But all jokes aside, obviously the more programs that you apply to, the better chance that you have at getting into school. And if you're willing to relocate, that's even better, because there are smaller programs or lesser known programs that are in more rural areas that not a lot of people apply to, that you have a better chance of getting into, as opposed to a program that's really well known that everyone's competing for. So if you have the resources and you're willing to relocate, then why not? Just make sure that the programs that you're applying to are accredited, and you can find this on the AOTA website. They have a full list of their accredited programs, so if you're not sure about programs' accreditation status, look back to the website and you should be good. Tip number 9 is to visit and stay in contact with the programs that you're applying to. Show them that you're interested. Show them that you really want to be there. I was that annoying applicant. I would call my program just to make sure that they got my materials, sometimes just to say hi and ask a question. Yes, I was that annoying applicant, but it got me in, and here we are. So stay in touch with your programs, make sure that you're showing interest. If you're invited for an interview, make sure you follow up with the person that you interviewed with, write them a thank you note. These little details, I don't know how much they matter, but I would think that they do play a part, just because it shows that you're really interested in the program, you're serious about it, and you're really making an effort to be there. And the last tip, tip number 10. This tip I think is also one of the most important, and it kind of goes hand in hand with number 3, and it's to do community service. Occupational therapy is a client-centered career. You need to be a people person. If you're not empathetic, if you don't have the desire to help others,
what are you doing, baby?
OT is not for you. OT schools want to see that you actually like helping people. So show that. Do community service. I did a lot of community service through my church, but there's a whole bunch of other ways that you can do this. Actually show that you have an interest in OT. All right, that's it for today, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If there's any tips that were helpful to your application process that you feel like I missed, then share them down below. And if you found this video helpful, then give it a thumbs up and subscribe for new videos every Thursday. See you next time.